I've got a background in science and business, was originally a biochemist and did an MBA in diagnostics and pharmaceuticals. I spent probably the first 10 years of my career with Roche in diagnostics and the last 6 or 7 years in pharmaceuticals. Where I'm currently placed is within our Translational Research Sciences organisation, which is an organisation which supports discovery research and early development of pharmaceuticals. And we provide technologies such as genetics, genomics, histopathology, proteomics to support modelling and simulation, bioinformatics to support drug discovery and development. I think that up until perhaps 5 to 8 years ago, there were very few companies who had a focus on developing clinical utility for novel markers. That most of the development work in terms of developing clinical utility was done by clinician practitioners or by the community in general, and little work was done by companies. And this is changing, and diagnostic companies are realizing that in order to be seen as being a major player in healthcare, they have to do more work to demonstrate the clinical utility of the assays that they're bringing to market. I think that clearly the ruling was made at a relatively low level within the judicial system, and that there is plenty of space, time and opportunity for that decision to be revisited and rethought. I don't think anybody has the point of view that one should be able to patent life, but one should clearly, I think, be able to patent intellectual property which is novel and not obvious and drives innovation. In certain areas we are interested in looking at data at quite an early stage, and this is mostly in a few focus areas which we think are very high unmet healthcare needs, which have a strategic fit for us. So oncology would be an example. We're interested in many pathway biomarkers which have the potential of being clinically useful. But in most cases we want to see some evidence of clinical utility and really a relatively robust assay for measuring the biomarker. Rather than thinking about outsourcing, we're very open to working with anybody who's doing effective discovery work and producing good evidence of clinical utility. I think we're really only going to see evolutionary changes. If we look at the work that's been done in terms of whole genome association studies and the influence of genetics on major disease, we can see that many of the diseases that we're looking at are quite complex genetically, so there doesn't seem to be any short route to finding genetic risk factors which are going to be extremely important in managing some of the major complex diseases. The work that we see being done in the genomics and proteomics arena is also, I think, much more complex than anybody anticipated. And I think we're only beginning to understand the role of epigenetics and microRNAs and other relatively new discoveries.